All right, we are back here for round 2 of the battle.
Black and blue.
There we go. It's 3 B words. There we go.
You got it.
Black and blue. This is once again the MA1 division. I got Ben Wyckoff with me here in the booth. We're still at Northwood Park, but now we are playing the longs.
This is the beast. This is the one that the pros play. Hardest course in the world that the pros are gonna play. It's really hard.
Yeah,
That's all I've got.
and we have 4 people who are under par after playing the shorts and are going to be looking to be over par here very soon.
More than likely.
More than likely.
Just statistically speaking, it's very hard. 5 over or something like that will be 4 or 5 over will be 1,000 rated. So
Yeah,
if
which
anyone
is
can do
crazy. Yep.
that'd be great. Hole 1, 455 feet. Same hole we saw during our shorts round. Plays pretty well downhill. Just want to make the first gap and don't fade out to the left because there's OB over there.
Absolutely. So we've got 3 new faces on the card. Starting us off here, we have Steven Yoder, who is really a dual threat. He's got a really great backhand, as you see there. He does kick and head left, but he should be able to get up and down quite easily with that much distance off the tee.
Yeah.
And then Josiah Beachy, his whole family is essentially here and playing today. Really solid, just consistent. I wouldn't say he's outstanding in any other category than committing to his gap.
That's a very nice shot, though.
Very
Plenty of
good.
distance off the tee. He'll have looks like he's about pin high for birdie.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we've seen Carson once before, so he's not the most familiar face, but he is a pretty solid player here from the Peoria area. He was looking to do that forehand flex for the righty, and he didn't commit on the
Didn't
anhyzer.
quite commit to the Annie angle. That'll still be fine. He'll have maybe more of a tricky shot than you're looking for from there, but definitely still able to get up and down.
Yeah, Carson's got a lot of game, and we also have another new face here, Gavin Bednar. I enjoyed watching him, and I want you guys to enjoy it too. Just really good, smooth
Oh, yeah.
play. And he trusts this really high in the gap. Usually, a lot of times, the error there is that it ends up fading out pretty hard.
Yeah,
I think that one stays clean.
It'll be close to the OB line over there. Yeah, it didn't look... Usually you need a skip to get out of bounds that far up the fairway, but we'll see. It'll be close.
Nice snappy approach shot for
Yeah,
him there. I think he overshoots
nice.
the basket just a little bit, but it's
He's a really
good
solid putter, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, it's my first time seeing all these players aside from Carson, so I'm looking forward to seeing kind of how they attack the course.
Yeah. That was at least a 100-foot jump putt from Steven, so he's got a pretty good tool getting close to the basket with the jump putt. So
Looks like Gavin stayed in bounds, I think.
he did.
Can't quite get the putt high enough, but still, par plays on all these holes.
Certainly. But it would be kickstarting a good round to start off with the bird.
That's fair.
Josiah's nearly there.
Oh, man.
That
Great
could have
look.
crept over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. He had to hyzer around that big tree guarding the green, so...
Yeah, especially from a knee, too. That's a tricky little putt to have to start your day. Let's see, Steven... Oh, I guess he was OB on his drive, so...
Yeah, I think that retaining
over the
fence on the
fence,
left-hand side, yeah, it hit and went over on the left.
Gotcha.
So.
Tough start, but it happens out here.
Mm-hmm.
See if Gavin can clean up his par putt.
Nice.
Yeah,
There
a
it
little
is.
high in the chains, but nice and solid.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much pace on it to have anything to worry about.
And I'll say, compared to the first round, this is a pretty solid start.
Yeah, played it a lot faster than we did, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If you want to see how not to play hole 1, go watch what Carter and I did in the first round.
But if you also want to see some sneaky, really cool things, go watch the front 9.
There you go.
So first of all, I don't even know how you're here if you missed the front 9, or the first round. Jeez. Power grip, man, they're awesome. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hole 2.
Love power grip. Hole 2, 580 feet, par 4. Playing another one of those holes that's playing significantly harder from the long than the short, I think. Your first shot's pushing uphill. You want to keep it straight, maybe fading out a little bit to the left on the righty backhand. and then pushing down a tight tunnel on the second shot with a sloping green that keeps you honest.
Mm-hmm.
Basically looking fairway or mid-range straight to get to the landing zone, ideally.
Yep, and that's a solid play. It's going to be short of the turn, but for Josiah at least, you could get sneaky with some kind of turnover, righty backhand turnover from there to fight up to the pin to give yourself a circle to look at a putt. But
yeah, Carson, that's a good little kiss off of the tree, kind of keeping him straight, making sure they'll have a chance to get around the corner on the second shot.
That would have been a much harder second shot, or at least forced him to really pitch up if he did continue to the right side. Kind of where Gavin's going. That's early. I don't know if he has a guaranteed window to really push.
Yeah.
So he's going to be pitching to the landing zone. And Steven here. Hanging left side's not the end of the world. It does open up the second shot.
If you can get sneaky with a little skip back there, you can even have a chance at birdie still. Mm-hmm. Carson just pitching around the corner. Smart play. Not trying to get too aggressive. Looks like Josiah's doing the same thing.
He pushed up a little bit more. He, I think, threw a little bit straighter to understable disc to get the tiniest bit of push out of it than a dump.
Yeah.
So he's sitting down the next leg of the fairway. And
Steven, so I think that's going to end up a little bit short of the pin. Usually, if you want to get the birdie and you're short of the corner, you have to play the turnover backhand instead of the hyzer forehand. But he'll have probably, if that was as good of a shot, I think it was maybe 70 feet.
Yeah, he'll have his jump putt approach, even if it was outside of that.
There you go.
He'll have a simple jump putt to it.
Gavin catches some stuff on the inside on his second, but able to pitch out on his third. Should be able to get up and down from there.
Yep.
And Carson also looking to get up and down for his par from here.
The level of commitment on what seems like an approach shot, too. I mean, it's a good pull.
Yeah.
But a little leaks a
little early out of his hand, but gets sneaky and he'll have a inside circle putt. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Josiah, I don't know if he was going for the wide hyzer or the straight line there, but either way, just catches the last tree that he's looking to miss. Interesting little kind of flex forehand instead of the straight line from Gavin, but well executed. Hard to argue with that.
I'm not going to read into it too much. It kind of looks like he just, more like a baseball toss, kind of throws his arm in the direction, not really trying to get the wrist too much involved, so kind of just giving it a lob and let it kind of fade softly.
For sure.
So actually, this is a lot tougher than we were expecting for Steve.
Looks like he either faded out a little harder or skipped into the rough, but that's a good shot. It's still close enough to the pin that there's not too much danger from there.
Yeah, he did kind of sneak down the hill a little bit too with this backward sloping green, so he'll have a tester putt, but his putt is looking good.
Wow, speaking of putts looking good, Josiah with the absolute dagger from about what's that, 55 feet or so?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Man, that's a clean little spin putt. Straight into the heart.
On hyzer, really, it just kind of went on the parabola and just kept going all the way to the chains. Man, that's a good looking line.
That is a pretty putt from Josiah. Good putt from Gavin, too. Way to clean up his bogey. Not, exactly the score he's looking to take here, but as we know,
we all know,
it can escalate quickly out here. So single bogeys, pars, they don't necessarily feel great, but they're good out here.
And that's the thing, too. I mentioned mental fortitude a lot of times. You got to be what I call bulletproof.
Yeah.
Like, recognize you're going to add a stroke here and there. But it's got to be in small pieces. You can't just let holes blow up on you and then...
And if they do, how do you bounce back from that? Because it does happen, and it's, it's really hard in the moment to make yourself
take your medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
And really just aim for the bogey at worst case. So, Prodigy Discs, an awesome addition to the tour. They have done an awesome job equipping the events with great players pack items and discs. The discs have been beautiful, so thank you, Prodigy, for hooking up the tour and all of our events. So, hole 3, this one definitely much more difficult than the short position. You have an incredibly challenging tee shot. The second shot being a little bit easier. you went from a 200-foot chipper to now a solid 360-foot shot off the tee.
Time to
get
see if
to
these guys are comfortable throwing forehands through a gap, because that's what this shot is really demanding. Not a bad shot from Josiah. Looks like it sneaks out just a little bit early. Carson kind of with the same miss.
Both of these are way too, I'll say overstable or hyzered. One of the two.
I think a little more hyzer than they're looking for.
Yeah.
Even just undercommitted maybe, but through the gap is still job number one. This is more what you're looking for from Steven.
Every single one of those.
A little bit straighter.
But it's still a little inside. That's the thing. I think
hard,
this requires...
I guess I can't tell how much power he has really, but it looks like that pushed far enough to get out to a good spot.
This has the distance. The shot shape a little less conventional with it fighting to Anheuser and flexing through there. But yeah, that's essentially the shot that is required. And
yeah, Josiah trying to kind of pitch out to the fairway. Catches the last tree. He'll still have a shot from there, but a trickier one than he was hoping for.
Yeah.
Carson looking to do the same thing and has the same result, unfortunately. And yeah, like you said, this is a good shot from Gavin. A little more distance than you typically get on a second shot with a clean drive, but wow, that is a well-executed shot. Oh my goodness. That couldn't have been too far from going in the basket down there.
Nope, I think that settled just short of the basket. But yeah, that's the shot you're looking for if you're wanting to run it and keep it on the green. So
yeah, that's a tight line with a putter.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Carson chipping out there too crosses the fairway, I think.
Yeah, and man, Josiah catches another tree trying to inch his way forward. Yeah, and this is a good spot from Steven.
Yeah, so I think in years prior there used to be a huge tree on the inside gap, right? And so that was shutting down anything that leaked too far inside. So I do think that there was a little bit of luck involved on the inside for Steve. Steve, I apologize. I'll call you both names. But yeah, it's a good result, and he not quite able to capitalize to get down all the way to the green, but he'll at least have a look hitting that tree and dropping on the second-hand part of the fairway, and Josiah getting up there for a look as well.
Yeah, looks like Carson was fortunate to stay kind of up top and not go down to the creek down the bottom there.
Still needing to be really crafty.
Still a tough shot for sure, but a lot easier to throw it from that stance than from 10 feet lower and with a lot more bushes in the way.
True.
Steven looking to maybe give this a bid. Little half run. We'll give him credit for that.
Yeah, it's tough with the downhill baskets. Is you don't know when your putter kind of picks up and glides a little bit more and pushes versus settling like his did. So
very sensitive to nose angle there.
Yeah. Oh, that was good commitment for Josiah. It's gonna be where he bleeds a few strokes, but he's gotta close this out.
Yeah, it's a tough one to.
Good commitment. There you go.
Good comebacker. Tough double on this hole, but kind of what happens when you can't get back to the fairway on shots 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm. And actually, like I was mentioned before, they're out-of-towners. Steve, Josiah, and Gavin. Yeah, that was high right.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's not necessarily... I don't know if I'd go so far to call it a spit out, but...
You want it to stick.
You want it to stick. Really, from that distance, you want it to be a little more centered at the basket, too, though.
Always.
Still be a par for him, so not a bad hole by any means for Gavin, but you'd love to be picking up birdies.
Always, and yeah, Carson kind of staving off the strokes as well. Had a couple good shots in there amidst the tree hits.
Yep.
Yeah, with that, we'll pass through the NADGT gate. The National Amateur Disc Golf Tour has elevated the Greater Peoria Tour to the next level by making this one of their placement events. So, guys, go check out an NADGT event, and if you win, definitely recommend going and trying out the championships. It is a fantastic experience. I enjoyed it myself. And with that, we're going to hole 4.
Yep, we've got 637 feet, it's par 4. From the short, we had kind of a left and a right option. From the long, I think that really whittles down to mostly just the right option for most of our players. You'll see a lot of forehands or backhand turning shots that are trying to get to the right side, just past the large tree that you can see in the center, and then trying to get a little turning forehand over the creek from there, most likely.
Yeah, and once again, where the short pads were, allowing players to execute 300 feet off the tee, This one, or these holes, like it adds another 200 feet. So these players are having to throw 360 to 400 foot shots like that.
That is a really nice shot. It might be
Inside.
a hair inside to the left, but still, nothing wrong with that. He'll have a look at getting over the creek in two, which is all you're really hoping for here.
And this is a pretty decent shape. Aside from hitting that tree, it is also high. He would have dealt with some fading out with that airspace, but
I don't know if it's going to be a trend, but definitely noticing a little bit of a high release off of Gavin's shots on kind of all of these so far. So I don't know if that's more of his throwing style or if he's trying to dial in his shots a little bit more moving forward.
Absolutely.
Let's see, Josiah showing us the forehand, wanting to get a little bit more flex on this shot. It really plays nice if you can get it on Anheuser out of your hand, drifting to the left with enough stability to come back. But the straight to hyzer does not really play.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Tree. We didn't. If you couldn't see it very well, there was a tiny tree off to the left side of the short pad that gets in people's heads and forces you to throw like to the right side of the fairway off of the long tee. And if that tree was gone, I think that would make the tee shot for the longs a little bit more executable, or at least remove a mental roadblock for a lot of players where you have to kind of get it moving like a forehand flex.
Yeah, well, you would definitely see a lot more players going with the backhand play.
Yes. Which has, I think, the best
flex.
propensity to push to the bend and stay in a good spot. And that's a rough kick that pushed straight there.
Yeah, it looks like he'll be down in the creek bed. So no OB down there. Not an easy shot by any means, but executable to try to get up and down. This is a really, really good drive from Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to just go straight putter across. Looks like a good shot, probably pushing a little bit too far straight.
It's a good result.
Yeah.
I think he finds himself just inside the path to the next hole, which
gotcha. Yeah, so 25 feet or so.
Yeah, putt through to the.
Good approaches for Josiah and Carson there. They'll both be close, and let's see what Gavin has from. I believe he's going to be way over to the right in our picture.
Yeah, he's
here.
still on the far side of the creek, needing to pitch over. As the cameraman, you're kind of like, I'm not 100% sure where he's going to be punching from. So.
Oh, wow. Almost gives it a little bit at the basket there.
It certainly does.
Good shot from Gavin. And yeah, wow, so Steven sat pretty close to the basket. I think he probably caught the backside, if I had to guess. We couldn't quite see the finish on that shot, but a good result either way. Hopefully trying to get the elusive birdie on this hole.
I imagine there are only a few of them.
Yeah, only 2 birdies on the round for MA1. Granted, we don't have the biggest field. Let me see. We've got a field of 27 players for this. So, 2 out of 27, not an easy birdie.
No, not by any means. So the par definitely is going to be a good score. Birdie taking strokes on a lot of people.
Yep, and you can say that copy-paste for every hole on this course.
Aside from...
Except for 12 and 14 where you can say bogey will take a couple strokes and triple will be keeping par with the rest of the course.
I mean, like you said, once again, Gavin kind of playing some back and forth on the fairways. He took his bogey. Kudos to him. You just got to keep your head when the 1Z, 2Z bogeys kind of come on in. So, take your medicine, still play some smart golf.
Definitely.
Huge shout out to OTB as well, kicking back to the tour. I just bought a few discs from them. Online shopping experience has never been better going through OTB, so I really appreciate them. And with that, we're going to go to hole 5. Shared a hole for the shorts as well, and there's a handful of those holes out here where the shorts combine, and I think those are the ones that are relatively scoreable for sure. So happy to see that commonization. And this one's just going to be 2 230-foot shots.
Yep, and the real key, especially on the drive, is it's a tight landing zone, so being very precise with the speed that you're putting on the disc to get it to land just in the right spot. This looks to be a little bit early left out of his hand. Sometimes you sneak through there, sometimes you don't, so we'll have to kind of wait and see.
Yeah, and this one, I mean, the low driver, you're committing yourself to at least hitting the gap, but then you run the risk of exactly that, getting some ground play that causes you to overshoot the landing zone.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's not the end of the world either. He did, Josiah did pull that a little to the right, but it stood up and it rolled back out to the right. Unless it didn't dive in too deep, he'll actually have more of an open look to try to find a gap to push up the next leg of the fairway.
Yep, and Gavin leaving his a little bit early out of his hand as well, so he's going to also be looking to the sky with either, looking for the flex forehand or an overhead to try to fight back to the fairway.
And this has been coming more and more common. The airspace on the inside of the turn has actually been opening up a lot. I don't think it's trees falling out per se, and I don't think it's just because people take that route, but for some reason it seems more and more people find a lucky gap through there.
Yeah, Josiah actually taking the low line, and looks like you got some pretty good ground play, so probably circle 2 from there.
Yeah, right on top of the crest of the hill. He'll have a very easy layup for sure, but maybe could scare the basket.
And Steven was a little early inside on his drive, but finds this inside gap, and he'll have just looks like the same disc. Yeah, just a straight shot. Nice and easy forehand.
A little
leaks
inside.
Leaks it a little bit, catches the tree. He'll still be fine for his par. And yeah, like you said, Carson went a little deep on his drive, trying to go the overhead through the back door. That has not opened up on that backside, so still definitely you can get into some jail back there.
And that is good commitment right
really
there.
Great shot to recover, though. So he'll be parked for his par.
Yep. You see it right there on the green.
All right, let's see if Steven can connect for another birdie.
Yeah, he really got some good smooth putts from these longer distances, too. That leads to a lot of consistency. Yeah, good smooth release. A little over hyzer, but yeah, good backspin there to go right back to the basket.
Definitely a good look. And Josiah has a similar look from just in front of that to, I believe this is to save his par, or is this for a birdie?
I think it's for birdie.
You're right. Yeah, because he had such a good shot from the scramble.
The little counter roll off the first shot, and then that second shot did get a lot of good ground play carrying him up there. So
gotcha.
Yeah, that was a solid run too.
Yeah, couldn't quite connect, but put a good move on it and gave it a chance. Now Gavin, this is going to be a tricky spot. You can see him fighting through some foliage and is able to give it a pretty good bid. So you've got the short little trees and bushes right in front of you, and then also the thick trees that are guarding the green farther up. So no easy feat from back there.
This is a pretty well protected green.
Yeah, especially if you're off the fairway, early left, early right. It can be nasty.
But I love the design, kind of going off on a tangent here. I love this hole is very fitting for this course because then, it's not demanding ultimate distance. It's commanding precision on your approaches because that's essentially what you're doing is you're throwing 2 approach shots. Yeah,
and I especially like it in between some shots that do require distance on drives at 4, 3, 4, and 6 are all, longer shots you need to be throwing.
3 is a power forehand.
Yeah.
4 is a very finesse power backhand.
So throwing in a touch shot there is
and then hole 6 is an absolute rip turnover to get to a good spot to score. So huge shout out to Underdog Sports. They are an amazing partner to all sports here in Central Illinois. So go check them out. In-store is a fantastic experience.
Yep.
All right.
Hole 6, we've got 947 feet. It's a par 5. Our drone is actually flying from the short pad here, but the long pad we're adding another 300 feet, maybe 250 feet.
Too much.
But a tight gap with some tricky lines. So you're looking to play a righty turnover out of your hand on the first shot, to a righty hyzer around the corner on your second shot, to a righty hyzer to the green, hopefully, on your third shot for a birdie. But it's really all about the execution on the first couple shots.
Yeah, and you're asking for effectively 2 400-foot shots to get to a place where you can at least attack the green for your third shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're willing to if you don't get around the corner on your second shot, you can attack the green, if you get 350, 300, but it's still through a tight gap on the first shot. It's no easy feat. Looks like Steven's pushed a little bit straight and Carson's faded out a little bit early. They'll both be kind of on the edge of the fairway, but neither one are going to be in the ideal position.
Yeah.
The forehand definitely plays, but it's a sneaky technical line where if you're playing a kind of a typical, more overstable disc on forehand, you're going to get a skip off to the right-hand side and be in complete jail.
In both of these, you just need a straighter finish than an overstable finish.
Yep.
So, and it looks like Gavin was attempting that with more of an understable disc. Good kick out to the
really
middle.
Good roll back to the middle, yeah.
But yeah, as you mentioned before, I think his misses have been just a little high, and so he did lift that one high and pull it right. But great kick there for Josiah.
Yeah, not a bad result on either of his shots, really, being kind of next to the short pad there. Definitely could be worse. Gavin just rips it over a little bit.
Nearly worked out, though.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, so Carson had good distance off his drive, but he fought out a little bit, so he'll have a really tricky second shot. That is a very good kick out to the middle. I think we must have missed Steven's second shot here.
I think we did. Actually, no. I don't think we've gotten to it.
Oh my
I think he actually had a really great rip.
his,
I think he's just to the left here of Josiah's second shot.
Okay.
Yeah. Josiah pitches that.
I only say that because this is really far up the fairway. Okay, yeah, here's Steven.
He's got great distance.
Oh, man, yeah. That's a great shot. And he's all the way around the corner.
And I think that did the stand up and
down
roll.
To the bottom, yeah. But even still, there's, you get a little bit of a tricky line from there, but it'll play. Gavin with a nice flip up through what is usually a tight gap back there. We couldn't quite see how technical that was, but a very good shot.
Mm-hmm. Playing kind of a hybrid catch cam here to just pushing a little straight with that roller, but I think that's fortunate.
Yeah, that's a good kick. Takes out maybe 25 feet of distance, but saves him from having this kind of stance where you have a tree or bushes in your swing. So that's definitely a trade Carson will take. So Steven's looking to get up and down for birdie here.
Looks like a driver. He's trying to just commit.
Yeah, hold the forehand, have it hold over. Nice for him. I can't quite get his swing the way he wants. He'll be down in the creek bed. It should play casual, but definitely not the spot you're looking to be.
I'm genuinely... Yeah, he's a very competent player. I'm just genuinely curious as to the reason for that disc selection.
Yeah. It might just be a comfort thing. I know personally I would prefer, especially on that kind of distance from a standstill, it's a lot easier to throw a driver and kind of trust to get over on it.
Yep.
As opposed to trying to flip up like a mid-range or something and have it potentially roll.
Makes sense. Gotcha. All right, good pitch up there for Carson.
Yeah, smart play. Kind of taking his medicine a little bit.
Yeah, you see
Steven trying to down the bottom. There's a big kind of, not huge cliff, but maybe 8-foot kind of hill down to a creek bed down there. So a little bit of a technical shot trying to put it close to the basket.
You got to find, it's just locating the basket.
Yep.
That's the main issue there. And that's going to be, you kind of go and try to find some frame of reference, keep your eye on a leaf or something, be like, hey, it's right under that leaf, and toss it.
He's able to get out to the top, still maybe a longer putt than he's hoping for, but definitely one that he can make from what we've seen so far. Let's see, it looks like Gavin from 45 feet or so.
Hope he connects here. That'd be a good pick-me-up.
Oh, man.
This is another disrespect that I have never seen of these baskets.
Wow.
Just enough hyzer, it catches the middle pole.
Yeah, that's, like you said, another one that I haven't seen on these. It is coming in on more hyzer than I've maybe ever seen a putt come in on. But that's brutal.
But the
straight
pace,
off the
I mean,
pole.
it wasn't even a lot of pace.
It wasn't fast, but just the angle cuts straight through. Wow. That's a tough break for Gavin there. Let's see if Josiah can connect on his putt. Yeah, that's well done. Right into the bottom.
Yeah. Got to get that par graphic going for the Northwood course, so yeah. That was a good par, Josiah. Close out a kind of tough ladder hole scramble. The first part of the hole seemed pretty simple, but then the next two shots have been tough for Steve.
Yep.
Good.
That's
finish.
a good putt. Good putt to finish it out strong with a par.
Mm-hmm.
This hole was playing pretty tough on the day as well, averaging a full stroke over par. So nothing wrong with par here. Taking a full stroke on the field.
Absolutely. But we talk about hole 12 and 14 as we're not going to get there here, or the front nine, but definitely this is a sneaky difficulty too, because those are just under 2 strokes over usually.
I'll let you know when we get
Well,
there. How about
okay,
that? You'll have to
yeah.
stick around for the back nine to see.
All right. And with that, we're going to hole 7. Once again, another short and long shared hole. 325-foot par 3. We had some discussion on the front 9 about this one. You want to kind of hit the biggest gap is where the drone's flying on the left-hand side. You can either play something dead straight through that to get a circle 2 putt, or to try to finesse something closer to the basket.
Yep. Yeah, usually going fairway driver or mid-range for most of our players here. Steven looks like he's taking the sneaky right line. Actually gets a very nice kick down to the left. I think that should give him a putt.
Yeah, he's going to be, I think, just shy of circle 2 looking down at the basket, so definitely makeable in his...
Yep. And Josiah
skill
taking
set.
that more typical play that you were mentioning, straight, fading out a little bit to 45 feet or so, most likely.
Mm.
Man, Carson puts a good commitment on that shot. Good rip, just yanks it over a little bit. So he'll have a tricky scramble still.
That's a great looking shot from Gavin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. Yeah, that's going to be maybe even a little bit deep of the pin.
The slightest bit. I think he's more in line or more pin high than anything else.
Very nice shot either way.
Yeah.
Carson, just a tricky second shot. This was a well-executed forehand high. Man, I have so much trouble with those high forehands. I don't know how people can throw those spike hyzer angles. And wow.
I don't know.
Steven with a dagger from 50 feet or so. I thought his drive got a little bit closer, but man.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't like his putt somehow out of his hand based on his reaction, so we'll take it. Great putt, Steven.
He thought he was further away, so he thought his putt was short, but
Okay,
then he
there
was
you
actually
go.
closer and it went in the shade, so there you go.
Oh man,
yeah.
I can't quite connect on the his putt there. Oh yeah, Gavin is well deep. He really put a move on that drive.
All right, and I actually haven't even spoken a whole lot about it. Well, actually, quiet down for Gavin's putt here. Sorry.
He can't hear us.
Okay.
It's all in the past.
Speaking of what's in the past. Oh, that was a great
good
run
dig from Gavin.
That little bush there on the stump on
yeah.
the back side.
It's
not
grown
a
up a
stump
lot since
anymore.
then.
Yes.
And
It-
those, so yeah, we're talking
bold.
about right behind the basket. There's some, I don't know what the
It's a
actual growth
locust.
is.
I think
Is it
it's a locust
Okay,
tree.
or maybe olives or something.
Mhm.
But they're full of 2-inch long spikes that will impale you if you go in there. So it gets dangerous quick.
Yeah. Thanks to Great Lakes Discs for kicking back to the tour. Awesome retailer up in Michigan. Go check them out if you're in the area. Lost my train of thought. Man, what were we talking about?
We're talking about the thorns.
Yeah. Those are pretty monstrous, so you want to avoid those now when you're on the green. I think our master volunteer, Dave Messer, is going to help take care of
Okay,
those.
there you
But
go.
once again, another one of the shared holes, why don't you?
Yeah, hole 8. Same as we saw in the short coverage. You've got OB all on the right side and short from the T-pad's perspective. So you have a gap to hit to clear OB, drop zone if you miss it, and sloping green that's tricky, and you can get some nasty stuff going towards OB. Wow. Steven sneaks through the first gap. I don't think that'll fight back, so he'll go to the drop zone.
And actually, we mentioned this before, and that's a great shot from Josiah, and that's why I'm mentioning this
keeping
too.
it on the safe side.
It's on the safe side. We haven't been talking about scores very much, but Steven has been kind of separating himself. Gavin, unfortunate break there.
Yeah.
But and the same.
Oh
for
man, the
Carson.
same tree catches three of our guys here. That's
This
really that tree and the one directly to the left of it, a little farther forward, are the two that define the gap. And man, it is
tough.
tough.
and that hangs out wide for Steven.
Did he do the same thing I did? Did he hit the tree and went OB on
This is the swing
drop
hole.
zone shot?
We were talking about it. We're talking probably close to a potential 3-stroke swing here between Steven and Josiah. So we now have another tie ball game after the closure of this hole, depending on how it finishes. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, this is something where, hey, if you're going into final round, you're playing longs. If you don't clear hole 8 cleanly, you can easily bring other people back into contention.
Oh, yeah. I mean, same can be said for holes farther later down in the course, but this is definitely one that has the potential for a big number, just with the OB that is kind of lining everything.
Yep, so he went out of bounds about where you did for the first round as well, and so he's...
See if he can make his putt.
This is for 6 or 5?
For 5. Yeah, good putt for 5.
Great 5, yep.
Did what I couldn't do. Made his double putt. Nice bogey save from Carson as well.
Absolutely.
And this should be a par for Josiah, so...
Yeah. So there it is, a 2-stroke swing.
2 strokes there, yeah. So we got a 1-stroke game heading into the last hole of the front 9 here.
Yeah, so as we go to hole 9, there's not a whole lot of action from the rest of the field here that really come and push Josiah and Steven, so it's pretty much a 2-man game right now, but like we
playing well. It's hard to make a move out here when everyone's kind of fighting, struggling for their lives on every hole, so, but anything can happen. Huge numbers can happen on 12, 13, 14, so you never know.
But we've got a tough one here, hole 9. Oh,
yeah, we do. Hole 9, 732 feet, par 4. Take that 732, make it like 890 with the uphill on the first shot. That's what it feels like to me, at least. You need a huge drive, looking for the righty turnover backhand or forehand hyzer. To get up to the landing zone takes about 450 feet of power, and then you've got another at least 400-foot shot from there to get to the green. Yeah. This is a monster hole that I think gets forgotten about with a lot of the really hard holes we have on this course. I personally think it goes in between 12 and 14 as like our hardest holes.
It's so hard to score on.
Yeah.
The birdie requires 2 phenomenal shots, but as soon as you're off,
teeth.
Yes, as soon as you're off, you immediately go to par mode, and you are accepting that. So it doesn't add a lot of strokes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There's definitely less kind of huge number potential.
Right.
But in terms of getting the birdie, I think it's as hard as any hole on this course.
And that's a great shot to do with a lid on the inside. We'll see where Gavin
a little
ends
bit
up.
early. You see a lot of shots that look like that end up being just short in the corner, kind of where Carson is here. I'll be curious to see if he pushed far enough to get past that corner and have a look. Yeah. But there's a kind of a collection zone that is just barely short of the ideal landing zone, and you have a lot of little branches and a couple big trees in your way. So far we've seen Carson and Josiah kind of in that little collection zone.
Yeah, and Carson having a little bit more of an opening there. He fights an Anheuser or flex, forehand flex through that, and actually pushes really far.
And wow, so Gavin really ripped his drive. So he was a little bit farther, but significantly farther right as well. So still a little cut off, but he had definitely the power to get to the premier landing zone.
Yeah, he had nearly a straight shot to the basket from that, but he's now in jail.
Yeah.
When he hit that tree and he goes to the right, he is now in jail. There's no way to the basket, to the green from that position. So he's got 2 or 3 shots at a minimum now.
Yep. Steven fighting through the high stuff, actually pushing pretty far up from what I saw. And man, Gavin catching another tree and kicking backwards, unfortunately. That's tough break. It'll be an executable shot from there, but not what he's looking for on that shot. Let's see. Josiah looks to be either lining up the forehand flex or the backhand turnover. This is a tight line back here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I found when I stand behind players in these kind of gap shots, I end up finding just the biggest gap that I can get the basket for viewership purposes. It tends to be obviously the gap that most people end up selecting too. So
there you go. That's a good lesson out to anyone watching. Take the biggest gap you can and try to throw something through it. That's the name of the game. Gavin with a really nice flex forehand. Doesn't maybe quite fight back as hard as he wanted to, but still, he looks to be well inside circle there.
Yep, just some pitch ups here.
Yeah,
to clean up, then finish out the front 9. They're just not wanting to add a whole lot of strokes.
Even a little bit extra on that, so he'll have a longer putt than he wants for his bogey, I believe, for his comebacker in any case.
Ooh, and that's the putting.
Yeah, that's the putt we're used to seeing from Carson for his par. Great score on this hole. Kind of best case scenario from his drive, so good work, Carson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see if Steven can make his comebacker here. Yeah, nice. That's a confident looking putt.
Yep. So like I mentioned before, kind of getting off the fairway. You're in par mode now, and good closure out for 2 of those pars.
Yep.
Gavin, unfortunately, taking the bogey.
Yeah, but goes to show when you push the drive that far up there, bogey's, not a bad score here.
Mm-hmm.
And Josiah taking his par as well.
All right, and that leaves us with the back 9 of round 2 of this event. So super excited for you guys. We got the toughest holes in the world left to go through. But thank you guys for coming and checking it out. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and I appreciate having you guys here. Anything?
Thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing you in the back 9.
Certainly. See you guys there.